Hi guys. Okay, so my class just finished. I'm on my way home to study. My life is studying. So I just want to make a video to give you guys an update on how I'm doing. I haven't made a video in like a half a year or something like that, maybe even longer. So this semester I am in Adult 1, we call it, or Med Surg 1. I am repeating this course because last semester I failed this course, and I failed the course not because it was hard. I don't want to scare anybody. It's not hard. What makes it hard is life on top of studying. So as you know, that I have a full-time job and I have 3 kids, 2 preteens and a 2-year-old. She's 2 now, and a man-child. But my man-child is fine because he does for himself. He helps a lot. I thank God for him because he's very supportive. So with all of that going on, and with work, it was mainly work. I worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I only had 1 day to study, which was Sunday, which was my day off. And I'm in lecture Wednesdays all day, and clinicals was all day Monday and Tuesday. So I really only had like 1 day to study, and I shared that day with sleep because working 3 days, 12 hours at night. When I get home, I'm a zombie, and I need at least 4 or 5 hours of sleep to function. And I was only getting like 2 hours of sleep and then trying to study and then do laundry and stuff because you know everything ceased during the week. I'm not cleaning, I'm not doing nothing. And they cleaned and everything because last semester I touched nothing. I didn't touch a dish, I don't think. I didn't pick up a pot. I did nothing. It was either working or studying. It was either work or school. And my poor kids were so neglected. But anyway, I failed because I didn't have enough time to study. And it's a lot of content in Med Surg, a lot of disease processes, a lot of symptoms, a lot of medication, because in my school we don't have a separate pharmacology class, so it's all intertwined with the disease process. So whatever medications belong to that disease process or that illness, that is the medication that we study according to that chapter with the disease process. So that's our pharmacology. So trying to learn all of that together. So it's like having 2 classes in one. And then on top of that, we have all this ATI busy work that we don't get any credit for because you know everything is on Quizlet. They got hip to that. But anyway, yes guys, so I don't want to scare you. It's not hard. It's just that it's a lot of material, and if you don't have a lot of time to devote to studying, you will not be successful in the class. And also our school bumped up the requirements, so now we need an 80 to pass. If I would have went into the program a year earlier, or maybe even a semester earlier, I would have been grandfathered in and only needed a 75 to pass. I think it was a 75, I'm not too sure, but I know it's in the 70s. I got a 78 in the class, and I was 2 points away from my 80, so therefore I had failed that class. A lot of us failed the class because our teachers weren't being good teachers. They were making us read all these, well, one teacher in particular, all these extra chapters that was not necessary. And those of us who don't even have time to study was focusing on things we shouldn't have been focusing on and devoting time to chapters that we shouldn't have devoted that time to. And we neglected what was really on the test. So it was like they was intentionally creating a diversion to take us away from what we actually really needed to study. So they sucked. I have 2 new teachers, and they are awesome. They give us exactly what we need. They basically, if you listen to, well, in this class, I listen to what they are saying, every little example that they give, every little scenario. I noticed it was on the test. We took our first test and I got a 87 on it. And I had more time to devote into study for each chapter, and I feel so confident and so much better. I was really afraid last semester, turn this car off, that that if I was to go into maternal child, that I would have had to go back to med surg and try to relearn everything and try to understand everything all over again. I really didn't want to do that because I know that our clinicals in maternal child is different. We don't just go for 2 days every week. It's a lot of lab and Sims lab, and we go to like a site maybe a couple of times, but the majority is in the lab, and there's a lot of skills and fundamentals checkoffs was traumatizing. So I can just imagine what this is going to be like next semester. But thank God this semester I'm just repeating the class. I don't have to go through the clinical all over again, and I have a lot more time to study and focus on the material. Now, about half of our class failed, so that tells you something about what was going on with the teachers. It was a horrible experience. So if you're going to nursing school, thinking about going to nursing school, or you're in nursing school, you already know that it requires a lot of time to study, and especially if you're like me, I do not pick up things fast. I need to study things to death. I need to know why something is happening. If I get a sign or a symptom, I need to know why they're getting that. I need the breakdown. Brunner, that book is not good at breaking down signs and symptoms. They just throw it at you, and if I don't know how it clicks and how it makes sense, then I won't understand, and most likely I will choose the wrong answer. And like the signs and symptoms is usually the select all that apply, give you a list of signs and symptoms. You got to pick it out. If I don't know how that connects to the disease process, I will most likely get that wrong. This semester on this test, I had a lot of select all that apply, and I only got one wrong, and it was a diabetes question, and it was I was in between. I was like, should I choose alcohol? Is it alcohol? I just had a big brain fart, and it was like, oh my God, I just don't remember. And I clicked alcohol. I clicked it, and then I unclicked it because I was thinking, trying to put it all together, thinking a little bit too hard. I should have just left it. So yes, guys, this semester is totally better. The teachers are awesome. They've been teaching this for years, so they got their stuff together. Last semester, these were brand new teachers. I think this was their first class, and they didn't know what they were doing and screwed us over. But anyway, guys, I will give you guys an update on how I'm progressing. And I just want to give you guys some study tips because during the summer, I had a lot of reflection. I was reviewing a lot. And I noticed that our brains have to be trained to think in a certain way. And that is what the test questions are doing. And their rationales. They're trying to teach us how to think a certain way. They want us to stay within standards and these parameters, and you can't go outside the box. You have to stay within it. That's why most of the questions are so most of the answers to the questions, they're so similar. You hear people say all of the answers are right, but is that answer within the standard in the box? That's how they want you to think. And I noticed that. So as I was doing more questions, I noticed that training my brain, I was getting more of the questions right. So it pays to do a lot of questions. Practice questions. Get RN books, those NCLEX books. Get those. Study the questions. Study the rationales. Learn why certain answers are not the answer. If you have ATI, whatever you're using, do practice questions, study, train your brain because it's a brain training thing. They want you to think a certain way. And now that I understand that now, I'm answering more questions right this time. Even just doing practice questions, I'm answering those questions right. And I'm hoping, like I subscribe to a test bank. You guys, if you need to, I'm trying to get the sun out the way. If you need to, subscribe to a test bank, because that helped me a lot for this test. I subscribed to a test bank. I did a lot of, and you get a lot of nursing books, a lot of different authors of med surg books, and I did each and every one of their tests. Now there was this one particular book that was just totally hard. I don't think I brought it. I think it's Invictus or Evictus. It started with an I or something like that. Their questions were hard, and I was getting some of them right and a lot of them wrong. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I not getting? So that right there was hard, but our test wasn't that hard. But that helped me to kind of go back over the material and be like, what am I not getting? Because if I'm not getting it on this, and I'm passing everything else, but I'm not getting on this, there's something I'm not understanding. So subscribe to a test bank. Listen, sacrifice, because you need to pass this. You don't want to go and get kicked out of the program and try to go get into another program and then spend $75,000 on a nursing degree. Don't do it. If you are in a state college, a community college, or whatever college, and you have a decent tuition, you better stay in that, because you do not want to have debt when you get out and paying all this tremendous amount of money. You could be a doctor with the debt that some of these students are paying. I can't believe how much money some students are paying just to go to nursing school. Just let me pay my little $3,000 and let me get on through. So I'm not failing another class. God help me. Prayer is all up and through this semester and the semesters that's going forward. So yeah, guys, there was something I wanted to tell you. Oh, yes, be careful with Quizlet if you're typing in things, because I noticed that some of the things on Quizlet, some of the answers are wrong. So double check, go to other Quizlet people that puts this stuff in, because most of the information is similar, and double check and make sure, because Quizlet is very helpful, but it can also be harmful if you just stay with one Google search, because that may be the one that was wrong. So make sure you go and you click on something else, double check, okay? Also, Easy Note Cards is another one. Easy Note Cards. Go on there, find your book, find the chapters, and do those practice questions. Well, it's like a list of questions. They already give you the answer, but it still helps. So do it. It helps. And train your brain on how to think, and you'll be successful in answering the questions, all right? And I also revamped my whole study, the way I study. I study now by answering questions. I make my notes questions, and that has proved to be very helpful. Also, if you're using like the Brunner book, pay attention to those what ifs, those scenarios, because those are test questions. It's intervention heavy. Med Surg, the questions on the test, if you haven't noticed it, I noticed it on my test, it's intervention heavy. Study those care plans that's in the back of the chapter, because that is where most of the questions are going to come from. All right? So I will talk to you guys later. I think I have another test coming up in 3 weeks, and I will let you guys know how I'm doing. Talk to you guys later. Bye.